1970. 49 Maxwell Avenue.
All right, well, this was the first house that Mum and I bought.
Mm-hmm.
And Maxwell was a little street running south of Eglinton.
Right.
And we bought a semi-detached, I don't know how old it was, whatever it was, house there.
Mm-hmm.
And
1930s, 1920s.
yeah, it was hard to, 20s, pre-war.
Yeah.
Yeah. And three bedroom,
How much?
28,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And we bought it for 28,000. We had 3 mortgages on it.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow.
And we put the deposit down. I was freelance then.
Yeah.
And I would have I'd got my income tax. I'd saved up, I had to pay the tax. So I had about $2,000 or something in tax money. Right. And then rather than pay the tax, we bought the house.
Right.
We used that as a deposit.
Right.
We had 3 mortgages, of different amounts and different interest rates, and the highest was at 18%.
Oh.
Yeah. Different than now.
Wow.
Very different. But we also, when we bought the house, it had a lodger, as an Irish guy called Ivan Gunzel, who was a guy who he kind of designed the layout of Simpson Sears stores.
Huh.
So when they opened a new store in a town, he would be the guy who went in and figured out
men's clothing
and how much square feet of that and that. Yeah. So the good thing about he was a really nice bloke, and the good thing about Ivan was he was frequently away for 3 months.
Ah, okay.
He was away a long time.
Right.
He would, they were opening a store in Vancouver. Well, they would fly him out. They'd put him up. He'd be living out of a hotel for 3 months. But in order to get the money for the sort of compensation as a benefit for him at work, he needed to have a place, a permanent residence.
Sure.
So anyhow, he had the basement, which was a basement.
Yeah.
1 room.
Right.
And a bathroom, and so you must have had a kitchen of some sort, or a nook, which was a kitchen. I can't even remember anymore, but it wasn't that big.
So was it finished?
Yeah. It was habitable. I mean, it was finished, so, such as it was, and it was, it was fine, and it worked for us because he wasn't there all the time. Right. He was a bloody good tenant anyhow, and you never really know. We never even knew when he was there hardly.
Right.
So
he came with the house when you bought
the house. So he came with the house, which helped us pay the mortgages. Yeah. So that was how it worked. It was sort of okay.
Wow. So you're freelance now?
Yeah, I was freelance.
So the first house you bought without a job?
Yeah. Yeah, which was another problem. That was why we had 3. Well, yeah. I mean, I can't. It sounds weird now, but I mean. Yeah, that's how it was in those days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you must have been a pretty big risk for a bank.
Well, that's probably why I'm paying 18%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you have 3 mortgages? The bank would only give you 1.
That's right.
And
so
then
I
you
had
had
2
to
others
find some other loan sharks that had to give you the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yikes. Okay. All right. And then New Press. Was this a
so
client?
then I met. When I was at Macmillan, the sort of managing editor was a guy called Jim Back.
Right.
And I knew him because that's who you used to deal with at the publishers. And anyhow, in whatever it was, 68, 69, he and Roy McSkimming and Dave Godfrey created this company called New Press,
right,
which was an independent Canadian publishers. And this was a time of sort of nationalism in Canada. So there was
67,
there was the Centennial crap and all this other nonsense, and it was a big time, and sort of Canadian writers wanted Canadian publishers and all of this crap. Anyhow, Jim Back formed this company with his 2 other guys, and they bought this house on the corner of Major, and I can't remember what the cross street was. Right. But it was in the annex, basically.
Okay.
Okay,
Right. A big house.
a big house that was again on a corner.
Right. This is 225A Major Street.
Yeah, okay, that's where, and I went that. So it was on a corner, and I can't remember this street, but
Yeah.
the North South Street was major that went from whatever this street was to Bloor.
Right.
So it's just south of Bloor.
Right.
At Spadina.
Right.
Okay, and the house had a store.
Oh, okay.
It was part of it was a corner store. They had two plate glass windows, and in the middle was a door.
Yeah.
Well, that was my studio.
Oh, wow.
So they rented that. We had a sort of deal where I got a retainer
Right.
and I got free rent
Right.
and I could freelance, but I had to do all their work
Right.
as well.
Right. So you were kind of an employee, but not really.
Yeah, well, not dissimilar to what you have.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a way.
Retainer.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
perfect.
retainer. You know, so
And they supplied the office.
and they supplied the office, and you know, I got to design all their books.
Right.
And
Right.
art director and Father M General,
Right.
that kind of thing.
So how long did you last at New Press?
Oh, quite a long time, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
paid well?
No, well, I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know
Oh, yeah.
well, but I mean,
Because
it's
at
sort
this
of,
point in time, you're not on that. You're on the sort of lots of different incomes, like I am.
yeah. I mean,
You're
I
freelance.
I was still doing stuff for Macmillan. I was
Yeah.
doing stuff for I don't know who else. I can't remember who. Cobb
Right.
Clark, all those guys, Rice, and all those.
So
you
the
know.
educational stuff started now?
Yeah, I was doing some educational stuff.
Because
Yeah.
you mentioned you'd done a math book at the previous studio, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, the math book is with Murta.
Oh,
Now that Dents was the math book, but
Yeah.
that was just a simple math book. I
Oh,
did
okay.
much more complicated
Yeah.
math books later.
Huh.
So anyhow, that was the deal. I worked with them, and I did all their stuff, and that was fine. And then, so I think it was coincidentally. So I did that for I don't know a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and it was great. I could drive to work. There was parking. There was I didn't have to pay studio rent.
Yeah. That's a great neighborhood to have a
And
studio
it was
too.
a neat, nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that was all very
Working
cool.
by yourself, but
And I was working by myself then.
yeah.
And then I then met Cobb Clark. I was doing some stuff for Cobb Clark.
Right.
And the art director at Cobb Clark was a guy called Bob Garbett.
And they were at that big building off Portland.
Yeah, no,
Like-
not on Portland. Down, oh shit.
Wasn't it up front, like where you had a studio down there?
No, it's on the west of Young.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean when I was on King
When
Street?
you were on King
Yeah,
Street?
yeah,
Were they-
south of King.
Yeah, were they
Yes.
in that giant cop?
Yeah,
building?
that's huge. I
Really
mean, it
nice.
was a really big
Yeah.
place. A big, the cop was like 4-story,
Yeah.
big, serious building.
Yeah.
Well, they had their warehouse there as well.
Right.
So
but
like-
it was like
Oh, big.
the whole building was.
Oh,
Cop
yeah,
Clark,
it was all
right?
Cop
And it was
Clark.
like built for Cop
Oh,
Clark
yeah.
or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It certainly looks like it. from
No,
outside.
custom built building.
Yeah.
Well, Bob was the art director there,
Oh, okay.
and he was another English guy.
Right.
And so.
And you were a freelancer,
And
so
I was so I was doing work for him, and
Right.
anyhow, the net result, and then I think what happened with New Press, McLean Hunter bought a share in it, and there was sort of I don't know, they had to move, and anyhow, it's sort of
Yeah.
that coincided. Then Bob and I, we're getting a fair amount of work here, and
Right.
so we then formed a company called Mayer and Garbett.
and took the Cop Clark business with
I
you.
took the Cobb Clark business and other business, we
Yeah.
got other stuff, and we had a studio on Parliament Street, just north of King.
Okay. Yes, I know the building. Yeah.
There's a big building there that
Yeah.
had a theatre in it when we were there,
Right.
and we were on the 4th floor there. So that was sort of fine, and we did that.
Yeah.
And
And was Bob like educational publishing too?
yeah,
Right. So at this point in time, you're
but
still.
we were doing both.
Yeah.
Like,
So you're still doing new press
Oh
stuff
yeah, I
and
was still fiddling
fiction
on. Yeah,
and
oh yeah,
stuff like
doing
that.
a whole wide range of stuff.
Right.
Well, you needed to. I mean, the good thing about the educational stuff was that it was ongoing. Like, you know, it's a math series or
Yeah.
something, and it
6
goes
grades.
on and on and on and on. Yeah, I mean, when I was with John Murtagh, well, we did a Cop Clark math series, like K to 6.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot of work, and they're all illustrated.
Yeah, it's probably 6 years of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
You know,
Anyhow,
well, not quite, but still.
no. So anyhow, we did that. Then I can't remember why, but we moved from there to Adelaide Street. We had a studio on Adelaide Street. And I think it was Adelaide and Sherborne.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a bunch of buildings, so.
But like now, because I just to put it into perspective, all the stuff you did in England was letterpress.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff is now litho. It's like, no, we're all now changed technologies considerably.
We don't have.
You're now actually
engraving
providing
props.
paste up. You actually you changed your skills from just specking stuff and doing a cover to actually physically laying out every single page throughout the books.
We would do the final assembly of all these things. So we would have, you know, someone there. I mean, with Bob and I, we didn't have any staff. We just did it all.
Right.
But then, anyhow, so that, and I can't remember, you know, at some point, Bob and I decided we weren't going to do this anymore.
Right.
And, I mean, it wasn't an acrimonious thing.
Did you both continue on in design and publishing?
Yeah, well, yes.
But just different.
But we went our separate ways.
Right.
And I then, in the meantime, I had moved from Maxwell to Anderson.
Right. Do you remember what you paid for Anderson?
84.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, but you sold at Maxwell for a decent
69.
amount. Wow. Tripled your money.
Well, what
Almost
happened,
tripled your money.
we had, Mum came into some money.
Right.
Through an inheritance from her dad, after her dad died.
Yeah.
And so we renovated Maxwell. And, you know, like...
Lived in it for a bit and then sold it.
Yeah, and then we sold it.
Right.
Because it was a semi.
Yeah.
And we fancied a detached. And you know, it was sort of seemed like, you know, we could afford it.
Sure. So it was a good time.
To buy a bigger one was a good idea. It seemed to be like a good idea. So we bought Anderson, which was, as you know, 3 bedroom? 4 bedroom? 4 bedroom.
4 bedroom.
Yeah, 4 bedroom place.
Yeah. 4 bedrooms, and then we finished the basement.
That's
for Marie
right.
Pierre.
Yeah. So we...
And that was a studio for you too.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. What we did, we moved to Anderson, finished the basement before Marie Pierre.
Right.
We finished the basement, and I had that was my studio.
Right. The orange carpet, the orange
that's
outdoor.
Right. That's right. Indoor, outdoor carpet.
Yeah. One ply with no foam under it or anything.
No. So that was my studio there. And then Veronica's brother, John, was sort of, I think they wanted to come to Canada.
Right.
Okay, him and Kate.
Right.
They were interested in coming, and you know. Anyhow, the net result was, I gave John an official job.
So you sort of sponsored.
So he could, yeah. I mean, I said to him, you know, I said, look, okay, I'll sign whatever, but I said, you got to realise, like, you know, this may not be on. Okay, you know, like, you know,
if it doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, because I never even met him.
Yeah.
Anyhow. So he turns up. So Bob and I have split up. I go back home.
Right.
And then, but during the Bob era is when I had the X19. That was during the Bob era.
Right.
We were, you know, we needed cars. We both needed a car. Right. Even though Mum and I had a Vega.
Yeah.
Which was a little station wagon thing.
I remember.
I don't know. Anyhow, it was partly accounting. Like if you bought a car, it was a company car.
Yeah, yeah.
So we bought two of these X19s.
Oh, he had one too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. But he only had it for like 6 months.
Yeah, I know. Well, we had it, and then we decided that's the end of it, and that was it.
So he got rid of his at the same time?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, well,
were they both matching? Yours was orange, I remember that.
It was red, orangey red. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember what colour his was.
Huh. Well, the funny thing is, this is a theme, because in your next partnership, you buy cars together too.
Yeah, I know. Well, partly it's because we needed a car.
Yeah.
Bob and I didn't need a sports car, but we thought it would be like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
You know, and we and they weren't. I can't remember how much they were.
As a Fiat,
they weren't
can't be that expensive.
Huge, but they were pretty sophisticated. It was mid-engine. I mean, they went they really were cool to drive around.
Well, there was nothing to them.
No, nothing. And they were, and strictly two
roof
seats.
Just sort of popped out.
Yeah, and 2 seats. There's like no space behind, nothing.
Yeah.
The only trunk was the hood.
Yeah.
But you could get quite a lot in there. Anyhow, well, we bought it as a tax evasion thing. Well, you buy the car and we pay less tax, and we got a car. Well, great, and we use it for work because we've both got another car.
Right.
So this is a work car. Yeah. Anyhow. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyhow, we did that for a while. Anyhow, eventually Bob and I stopped, and that was that. And then, so I came home to work,
right?
Because I had the space.
Yeah.
And I'd got a bigger mortgage. I don't know whether I got a bigger mortgage.
You were probably writing off the house.
And I could write off part of the house and da. So I came and worked there. And when John first came over, he worked there as well.
Right.
And then we realised that, well, I guess the business was doing okay. And then Mum we thought it'd be a good idea, or Mum thought she wanted to go back to work, or whatever it was. Right. And the only way to sort of make all that work was having an au pair.
Right.
So that's why we went and rented 605 King Street West, John and I. That was our studio. So we went and had a studio outside the house.
Right.
And Marie-Pierre came to live in what was the old studio.
Right.
Yeah, we farted around and sort of cleaned up the bathroom a bit. I think I did whatever it was and put a bed down there and things.
Yeah.
Telly or something, and that was it. So that's where she came.
Right. Huh. Wow.
So have we finished this?
No, and then we go to the trip to Bayonne. So I think I was like 13 or something like that. So sort of around the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s.
Yeah, well that was... Yeah, well so
we had Marie-Pierre for a whole year.
Yeah, we had Marie-Pierre...
Mum's working at CBC.
For a year. Mum was working at the CBC. Olivier had come over in the summer at some point. I'd lent him my Ford. I had a Ford Cutlass at this point. I lent him that to go up to, and a canoe to go up to Algonquin Park because they wanted and he thought it was like he'd gone to heaven. I mean, he'd been driving like deux chevaux in France and he'd come back and it's like the full rocket V8.
Like 440 and
whatever it is. White.
Yeah, white wall tires.
Yeah, and a black vinyl roof.
Like
the full thing. He thought he'd gone to heaven, I think. And I mean, I must admit, I think sometimes, God, I mean, I must have been really trusting. The guy, some French dude, who was only in his early 20s. Right? Yeah. And like, take the family car and, bugger off up to, Algonquin.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, did they do that while we went to France?
No, they did it. We were here, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. No, he came and was sort of hanging around, and they did sort of Toronto
weekend trips and stuff.
But she was still sort of doing the thing.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what we did, if anything, but they went to Algonquin. But they probably only went for like 5 days or something, and they didn't go for like 3 weeks or something. Yeah. And they went. Then they borrowed a canoe and stuck it on top of the thing, and off they went.
Amazing.
They had a really good time, and because of that, and because as you know, we got on well with Marie-Pierre. Mm-hmm. Then after Marie-Pierre, we had whatever her name was, Hélène, which wasn't so good.
Yeah,
was sort of okay, but
she was a better cook.
Oh,
think.
she was better at the au pair job, but she wasn't. We didn't establish the same relationship with her as we had with Marie-Pierre. So anyhow, Marie-Pierre then, she did us, then did the sort of North American tour with another friend.
Right, for a couple months.
Then buggered off back to France.
Right.
And then I think she went up north somewhere in France and got a job, I guess.
Right.
That. So anyhow, we remained in touch with her. And they then, at some point, Claude and Michelle, who were very like we'd had their daughter and we hadn't done anything nasty. And
she had obviously had some good stories.
Yeah, and we'd done all these sort of neat, we'd treated her well kind of thing. And they'd said, well, why don't you come to France and come stay with us?
Right. And
that's when we all went to France.
Right.
And met Claude and Michelle and, all the rest of them.
Right.
And, Marianique and Jean-Loup and
right. And this was like, when we think about, because you live in France now, this was the second, this is, you were in France when you were a kid because you were going summers having fun.
Yeah.
Then you sort of moved to Canada, get married, have a family, all that other stuff.
Right.
And now 10 years later, 12 years later, your kids are sort of almost on their way to taking care of themselves at home while you're at work.
Yeah.
You start to rekindle this sort of friendship with France again.
Yeah.
Through this sort of strange kind of just surreptitiously, like you said before about your jobs, how you seem to just be lucky at times.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because there were au pairs came from Germany too, right?
Oh yeah.
You could get a German one, you could get an English one.
Oh
they came from all sorts of European ones.
We could have had an English nanny.
Mary Poppins.
But I don't know.
So it's interesting how that.
It's not.
France comes back again.
I know, and it's odd how unconscious it is.
Yeah.
I haven't. I just French au pair. Of course, you have a French au pair. I mean, everybody has a French au pair. You don't have Germans. I mean, the Mintos are German.
Yeah, well, so that was interesting, right? Because you weren't the only one doing this. This was a trendy thing to do as well. I mean, when I think, it's a generational thing because I think nowadays nannies are not from Europe necessarily. The au pair, or they're from the Philippines.
Well, all right, but that's what I think of as Southeast Asia or whatever it is. But they're not from Europe.
No.
Well, in those days they were. There was a place called Quatre Vents, Four Winds, which was the agency in Yorkville.
All right.
And you went there and did all this kind of crap and read all these resumes and picked one. I mean, it was weird. Just pick them all right, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And you've never seen this person. You write them a letter, they write you some stupid letter back saying, Marie-Pierre said, I can't remember, all sorts of lies.
Long walks on the beach and can cook really well.
And none of which she could do, But she was such a lovely person.
Yeah.
We all fell in love with her and it was great. And we, a lot of au pairs got screwed by the employer, like physically as well as financially.
Yeah.
And, we just...
It's a vulnerable place, right?
She's early 20s. Yeah. She's like younger than Daisy.
Yeah.
Now, not as naive as Daisy, admittedly, but younger.
Yeah.
And you're here and when you arrive, your only friend there's nobody. You have no friends here. Yeah. Now, I mean, there were in those days, and I'm sure there still are, au pair associations. Well,
they used to go out. I remember they used to go out on Wednesday nights. Because the Mintos won and Marie-Pierre. Turns out our friends who had their au pairs, the au pairs would get to know each other and they would sort of hook up and go to a movie or whatever.
And they also had English lessons. There was an
Franglais lessons.
There was a Franglais thing. There was a sort of English. Well, you had to give them sort of one afternoon off a week or something where they could do English lessons. It was somehow organised.
Well, I mean, I always thought Marie-Pierre's English was always really good.
But I bet she lived for 2 years speaking it,
Yeah, I bet when she first arrived it wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, I can speak English. Oh, hello. How are you? No, but she sort of, I mean, she didn't arrive, she knew she could speak some English, enough to sort of
Get by.
survive. And
Yeah.
you know, and because she was such a sort of charming, you know, bird. I mean, like
Personable
people were
character.
really nice to her.
Yeah.
You know, go up to the bread shop and, you know, if she didn't quite get it out, they'd be sympathetic usually and help
Yeah.
her out. Kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because we'd had such a good experience with her, and because she'd had a good experience with us,
Yeah.
Claude and Michelle invited us to stay there, and that's when we all went over and met all the Disabys.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, including Granny and Christ knows who else. You know, like and
Yeah,
the
funny.
Basque boyfriend of Marianique, I can't remember his name now, and you know Jean Lou and.
Well, I still remember the trip. I mean, I still remember the Fête de Bayonne. I still
Oh
remember
yeah, we go out.
going to Saint Sebastian. Was it?
Yeah,
in
San
Spain
Sebastian.
we went
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was
riding
like-
around, careening around Bayonne on the Solex and wiping out.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean there was. You
They
know,
were really
collecting escargot with
Oh, yeah.
Delphine.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's it, because like you remember Danielle and Josette, and I mean everybody sort of convened in Bayonne for
Yeah.
the summer,
Yeah.
and we were just
we
an
ate
add-on.
outside on the big
Oh,
table,
yeah.
and it's interestingly enough, you know, 2 or 3 years ago we went to visit Marie Pierre again now in Bordeaux.
Yeah,
Not the same table, but not the same house, but kind of the
Same
same feeling.
Oh yeah. No, it's like the
Um,
French, particularly down there in the summer. It's sort of open house.
Yeah.
With a certain kind of French family, like people from all over the place,
it's
you know,
lovely.
relatives,
Lovely.
grannies, you know, like all kinds of people floating around. Kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we went, I don't know if you remember, we went to some spa place where Claude's mum was sort of having a treatment of some sort,
Oh, yeah.
mud baths and all, and it was some sort of, you went there for a month, they sent you there.
Oh,
as a-
right.
you know,
Rejuvenation
yeah,
period
kind of
or
some
something.
weird thing. I mean, it was bizarre, you
Yeah.
know. But you're right, we met pretty well all of their relations.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's
Yeah.
Marie-Hélène and Jacques and Dick, those Hervé or whatever his name was, or
I don't remember any
Charlie
names,
or
but yeah,
Charlois.
a ton of people.
There was, I mean, there was just a constant sort of
We went to-
stream.
Did we go there only once or twice?
No, we went. I think we
Couple of
might have gone
times.
twice,
Yeah.
but
Because
like,
we went to the bullfight and we went to like
yeah.
also
Oh, yeah,
and we
and I
went
mean-
down the river with the rounds. We
Yeah.
we did go there twice because the second time
That's-
we
we
went
met the rounds. They
the
were
rounds were
camping. They were camping.
and we all
That's
went down
right.
the river and I
Yes,
lost a
that's
shoe
right.
and all
Yeah,
that
in the
stuff.
bloody inflatable canoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was that was the second time. But like they were just so generous and kind of welcoming.
Yeah.
And it, again, totally serendipitous. Like when we,
You're looking for some help to take care of us
yeah,
after
kids.
school.
Yeah. And she turns up.
Yeah.
And it's not as if we interviewed her. or anything.
No, and that's the joke is, you meet a person over a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You literally, it was a resume that you
That's
looked at
it.
and you said, okay.
Sounds all right to me.
And that was, 50 some odd years ago. Or
Yeah.
not quite 50 years, 40
No,
years
but-
ago, right?
Yeah.
And we still have a relationship
Oh,
with her,
God.
and you still see
Oh,
her
I see
every
her
year
every year,
and
at least once a year.
communicate many times
Oh,
throughout
yeah,
the
yeah.
year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.